February the 22nd, 2026, Sunday, 10:41 p.m., Sunday evening. And we can see the beautiful work of George Tritch. They mapped out economic boom and bust cycles, macroeconomics, if you want to call it that, projecting into the future, 1874. And this is everything he laid out for us. And many of you have seen this before. I keep it on my desktop so that I always know and am aware of what time it is. It's no time to fool around, no time to mess around, no time to play around, because after 2026, we'll be on our way to a C year, bottoming out at 2032, where we want to move assets from 2026, that peak year, cycle it down to the next 6 years to 2032. And buy up everything as much as we can and ride that glory for 2 years to the peak of 2034, because in 2035, we may be looking at another 2020. We know what happened after 2019, 2020, COVID-19, the 2000.com bubble bursting, right? And the 2008 housing market collapse. So right about a year afterwards is when we seem to see some serious troubles. Now, we know 2026 is a year of good times, high prices, and the time to sell stocks, cryptocurrencies, digital assets, things of all kinds. Because after this year, we may see a serious decline for some people. So we want to take a skill set with us. And we like catching the bottom of the market. Speaking of bottom of the markets and market peaks, this is what our next indicator is going to show us. We're looking at XRP on a 10-second chart where every bar represents approximately 10 seconds. And one of the new indicators we've added is the market cycle bottom. Underneath each of these 10-second bars, since we're on the 10-second chart, you can see an X. And that X, even though the markets have cooled off, continue to extend further to the right as we progress in time, nearing the present time. Now, we still get our buy and sell signals. We still get everything else, such as our levels of support and resistance, the dashed yellow lines and the dashed green lines. We can see about every 10 seconds we get some tick mark coming into Tradingview. But notice underneath some of the bars, you don't see an X. This was probably the last market cycle bottom until we ticked up. Also, you can see it here, market cycle bottom. The buy signal brought you out of it. And sometimes if you have a buy signal to the left or right with X's, you have to be cautious because the market can still go down on you after it has gone up. Now, as we progress through time, we'll find that the chart dynamically adjusts for the time frame that we're on. Notice the X is here, and the X means value. Get in, play the game. Dollar cost average your way into success. And we can see sometimes a buy signal will cause you to accelerate out of that. The sell signal, okay. And notice these 3 green lines that I'm highlighting here. 3 green lines with a shade of darkness in between them. This is our benchmark. When we are below those 3 green lines, this can signal potential market bottoms. Get in, play the game. Dollar cost average, $10 here, $20 there, $50 here, $500 there, income tax checks there, etc., etc., etc. Play the game. Because all we need is a strong buy signal to accelerate us out of or into further gains. Let's go on another time frame. 45-minute chart. You can see we've been under this 3 solid green lines for just a little bit of time. And if we compress time, we can see these were really good cycle bottoms here. Then we got a buy signal that accelerated us out and above the 3 solid lines. Nice. And we continue to increase. And that could be telling you something there. It's almost like saying, hey, stay in the trade, stay in the trade, stay in the trade. You're still above those three solid lines, stay in the trade. Amongst other things on the chart, you can see the market's warming up in the background too. Then about right here, it begins to cool off from white hot, and then it goes to brown or orange, we should say, to lighter orange, eventually to yellow. We got some heating up in here, even though we're relatively flat going down. Then green. Green is usually a great entry point, but even out of the zone, you have a buy signal, you can increase. You're still in the midst of X's, which lets you know the market can tick down. Let's advance higher to a 6-hour time frame where we get more information. And of course, look at the market cycle bottoms. Very good. You get a buy signal with X's to the left and the right. Take the trade, but be cautious that the markets can still go down when you get a sell signal, like get out of the trade. Now, if you're a dollar cost averager, play the game until you get a significant uptick. Let's keep advancing. Let's go to the 12-hour chart where we get twice as much information. We can see a prolonged downtrend. It looks like it began really on around the 18th of January. Markets have been going down. This has been a great time to accumulate XRP at a discount. There are some buy and sell signals in there. And usually your buy signals have less weight and your sell signals will take the preeminence until you start turning around. It just depends on looking at everything in the chart. As we progress up to higher time frames where the reward is bigger, let's go to a 1-day chart. And we can see this here. Bottom of the market. Accelerating out of the market with a buy signal. And then we can see the bottom of the market begins here again as you are under those three solid green lines. And we know a turnaround is coming at any moment. Let's go to the 1-week chart. And the higher the time frame, the more clean things become. The more we start to pick truly bottom markets. And notice what we're seeing with XRP. We saw this here back in 2024, bottom of the markets. Imagine you were laying down value there. And then you get just this rip up in increase. Just beautifully. Look at the high wick here. 436%. You still have buys and sells within there the whole time. Now, most people get paid about every 2 weeks. So let's just go to a 2-week chart. And that's when I'm going to incorporate the beautiful pi cycle top. And let's see if we got the 2-pole oscillator. Let's cut that on. And let's take off the Heiken Ashi since we don't need those. Okay, now look at the beautiful information we're looking at. 2-week chart. Just beautiful. This isn't the bottom of the market here, right? To the buy signal, you have no X's to the left or the right. Nice. Bottom of the market's coming, folks. We can see it here, and we can see it that we're beginning here. Now, we don't know if we're going to be riding flat. In fact, if I were to go back and look at the past history, as soon as we get these big candles off, these other ones will begin to adjust nicely. And we can see the bottom of the market here accelerating into some increase. Let's just take some small measurements here, about here to here. 69%, 42 days, beautiful. We have another one here to here. Gotta catch the bar. There's a wick right there. 42 days, 56 days, 51%, beautiful. Let's catch this bottom here and go here. 142%, 70 days. This is what we want to be doing for 2026, all the way down to 2032. because inflation and the monetary system is sort of upside down. We need transparency. The Epstein files are leaking, and the banks have been shaking hands with knowing everything that's going on. And, Homeland Security and U.S. Patriot Act, so many things where the citizen, if they have money movement over $600, then government wants their nose in our business. I mean, it is what it is. But the banks that have been knowing the transactions for human trafficking, so many other things that are just distasteful, been sitting on all the information the whole time. How come these major organizations are not under the microscope like the average citizen? Therefore, transparency is coming in the form of blockchain to many financial systems. And this is why people stack that XRP is beautiful for cross-border payments. And it's great to have this transparency on blockchain, even though all transactions can't, be a public ledger. You have to have some private networks too. But this is what Trump is doing, making the United States cryptocurrency capital of the world. Not that we want these digital assets to increase in value, but the functional utility of it. So you should always research ISO 20022 blockchain and notice how the SWIFT system has adopted ISO 20022 back in November 2025. And now we just need a reason to use it. And the Epstein files, it would seem, are ushering us into the new paradigm of the new financial system. All right. And we know that this July the 4th, we're going to be celebrating 250th year anniversary. That's going to be big. This year is very interesting as for the midterm elections, Trump really wants the House and the Senate so that he can get his mandate done. And so this year, 2026, is very, very interesting. Even according to the desktop screen, which George Tritch laid out for us, looking at boom and bust cycles far into the future. Now, we can see this is the data that we want to pick up on. And on a 3-week chart, I mean, things look even so nice. But notice with the pi cycle, green is where we're laying down value. And of course, the X is letting you know you're at a bottom of a market, even though there are trades in here. Don't get me wrong. There are trades in there. Green and lay down value. The specific color green for the pi cycle top, because lime can be a bridge, like you see the bridge here, right? It just goes down a little bit, but you'll probably stay in the trade unless you're going to take the dip and then ride it to some more increase. And since we're on a 2-week chart, the rewards are a lot bigger. So let's just say a bridge, we take a break and then we get back in when the markets go back up. And that's 42%, 14 days. And it stays about the same over the 42 days. Then we get the lime color, and now it's not a bridge, it's an exit, because we have the 1 and the 3 death cross coming in that can usher in the 2 and the 6, and we see the crossover with the stochastic RSI, the green line, going below the red line. That indicates a downturn in the market. Along with so many other things on the chart, the market's cooling down. We can see that. We can see the sell signals here and here. We can see the death cross of the 9 and the 21 come in. We know that we travel down through the blue channel and up through the yellow channel, and so many other things in the chart. But this back testing of the data is nice. When we look on the 3-week chart, in other words, as we pan through and cycle through time, we can just see the beauty of being at the bottom of the market. And that's what most people want to know. When are we about at the bottom? And on the 3-week chart, things really get cleaned up a lot. And look, we're back at 2017-ish, okay? 2017-ish. You got some buy-sell signals there. And of course, it's collecting data. And now it looks like by the time we get here, we start processing data based on past history in the chart. Now we have cycle bottoms coming in on the 3-week chart. And of course, you can see green, perfect entry, right? And you're going to ride that green into shades of orange for increase. Boom, boom. We can see the increase, bottom of the wick here, top of the wick here. And you can see a cool off period here. Get out or stay in, up to you. Stay in the trade or get in the trade. Green here. Let's just take a little measurement since you're probably curious about what kind of moves we're talking about. 87%, 42 days. Really nice. And this is when this digital asset was around what, 31 cents or so. That's really nice. All right. And we can see just the trades in there along with the bottom and the green. Beautiful. And this pie is really built more specifically for a 2-week chart. As you can see, 2-week chart. 16 hours to 2 weeks, but it still works on higher time frame up to 3 weeks too, because the rewards are big. It's like, do you want to play this game? And now we're at a more unique moment in time. I mean, look at the beautiful run up that we saw here back in 2021. The buy signal, the sell signal. Get in on the gap. We don't know when the orange is coming. The orange comes, boom, increase. The market's warming up in the background. It gets hot really here, and then it starts to cool down. We still have trades in here, like there's a trade from here to here. Bottom of the wick, top here. Let's take the measurement, shall we? So the chart is showing you some things, 38%, 21 days. And for a lot of people, that is significant. We're going to ride this bad boy in 2026 to glory, and we're going to span down to 2032 with some trades in our pocket, beating inflation and collecting digital assets and doing what we need to do, knowing that it could be time, very well timed, to catch an uptick. There is a little X there, folks, and we're in some shades of green. You know, the markets don't stay down forever. After the sell signal comes the buy signal, and we're just waiting on a turnaround. The 2-week chart gave us more information, more noise, unfortunately, but it is what it is. We can see on the 3-week chart, we had 1X, and now on the 2-week chart, we have 3 X's. And there is a trade there. You don't have to have a buy signal to have a trade. You can zone trade. I see the bottom of the wick here. Top here, about 20%, 14 days. Still beautiful. What if you had $1,000 in the trade? Well, after 14 days, you get $200. So this is what we're talking about. And it's that you can start gauging the bottom of the market on this 2-week chart, along with the beautiful pie cycle top, amongst other things, to let you know, hey, you're probably getting in at some really low points. And don't throw the kitchen sink at it, but throw some value at it. $20 here, $100 here, $500 there, and just play the game, because when we go from yellow candles to green candles, it's going to be beautiful. All right. So let's do this year, and it's going to be a fun and exciting ride. Let's see how long I've been recording. Unfortunately, I've been getting some corrupt files. Let's see if this one will actually save without corruption. All right, folks, remember, not financial advice. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I'm just looking at indicators of the chart and interpreting the information thereof. Never invest anything you can't afford to lose. And anything you do put down as an investment on any particular asset, you can understand that an earthquake can happen, a volcano could go off, a conspiracy can come out, Epstein files can be released, the markets can drastically switch in one way that you did not expect, and you can lose some value. But for those who have the methodology and ideology that I have, dollar cost average, and just collect as many tokens as you can of this possible next Bitcoin possible, right? Then, of course, we're going to hold it and ride it into glory, trading buy and sell signals and gauging possibly the bottom of markets based on averages and based on previous information in the chart. And we're just going to ride this thing into beautiful, beautiful sunrise and sunset each and every day or every 2 weeks or whatever time frame we are on. With that said and done, I'll see you on the next episode.